Oh my God. Takes off on the Stifle Tower, the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. That's how you go at a chest.
The Denver Nuggets struggled at the beginning of this season, but after 2 consecutive wins, including a huge game against the Thunder, they are back on top. But what were Denver's problems before? Have they already solved them? Or is there more work to be done? Let's dive in and find out, focusing especially on those first 7 games. First, one of the biggest changes for Denver is the adjustments in their lineup and the bench rotation. Christian Brown is stepping up and getting more minutes, and the bench players have changed a lot as well. Debates all over the internet are talking about concerns regarding Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.'s performances. Some suggest that spacing issues are causing problems for Denver's offense, leading to their slow start this season. But that's not the main issue, or at least, not the major one. 7 games is really a small sample size, but we can still get some ideas from the statistics. Now let's look at Denver's offense. Their offensive rating has decreased just a bit compared to last season, but they are still doing great. They are currently ranked 7th in the league with a rating of 114.5. down slightly from last season's 5th place at 117.8. That's not bad at all. Diving deeper into their offensive play style, they will increase their frequency of cuts and post-up plays. This makes sense with Christian Brown played 35 minutes per game so far, compared to 20 minutes last season. With Jokic leading the way, he keeps the team's offense at a very high level despite his teammates' shooting touch. Now let's talk about Michael Porter Jr. Some fans are calling for him to be traded, thinking his contract is a bit expensive, but let's consider the facts. He played 81 games last season and 62 games the year before. When the Nuggets gave him his contract, the biggest concern was his health, and he's been holding up well. His size and shooting ability are not easy to replace. Standing at 6'10" with a smooth shooting touch, he's a unique asset on the roster, especially since the starting lineup needs someone like him. Due to the team's salary restrictions, trading him would probably result in a downgrade. They may not get equal value in return, especially considering the team's needs. Michael Porter Jr. didn't play well in the first 2 games, but he's finding his rhythm again. Every player has their ups and downs, so there's nothing need to worry about. His presence on the court spreads the floor, making it easier for Jokic and others to operate. The whole team's 3-point percentage and makes are similar to last season so far, with Jokic attempting more threes with incredible accuracy. Despite all the above, Denver still maintains a relatively high offensive level, with Jokic playing 37.7 minutes per game, 5th most in the league. So if their offense is performing well with Jokic logging heavy minutes, they should be dominating, but they are not. So what's the problem? Is it turnovers or long rebounds leading to more transition opportunities for opponents? Actually, not really. The Nuggets are among the best in the league at limiting opponents' transition frequency. So, what's the real concern? It is their defense. Last season, the Nuggets ranked 8th in defensive rating with a score of 112.3. This season, they dropped to 17th with a rating of 113. They are giving up an average of 54 points in the paint per game, which ranks 27th in the league. Last season, they were 18th, allowing 50.3 points in the paint. I would call this a problem even at this earlier stage of the regular season. So, why is this happening? Denver's forward and center positions remain the same, so personnel changes aren't the main issue. This year, watching Denver's game just feels different. They used to play like they had everything under control. If the opponents led by double digits, there was nothing to worry about. they could erase the gap quickly. They would tighten their defense for several minutes, lock down their opponents entirely, and use transitions and fast breaks to regain the lead. If Denver lead by double digits, it feels almost impossible for the opponent to catch up. But this year, in several games, you can sense that Denver is trying hard to catch up. Jokic looks really tired as well. Let's take a look at Denver's games. Against the Thunder in the opening game, they got smashed in the third quarter. Against the Clippers, they trailed by 18 points in the second quarter and lost in the end. Against Toronto and the Nets, forced into the overtime and eventually won. Against the Wolves, they were down by 16 in the second quarter, rallied to take a 10-point lead in the fourth, but blew it in the end. Against Toronto again, they trailed by as much as 14 points but fought back until the very last minutes. The only easy win was against the Jazz. The team doesn't seem to have the same control and confidence on the court. So what's causing this shift? There has been some tactical adjustments, or perhaps they weren't intentional, but they'll become necessary. Jokic been playing at a very high position during opponents' screens. It's no secret that Knicks ball handler, especially speedy players, exploit screens involving the opponent's center. Last season, most of the time, Jokic just needs to step up a little to delay the ball handler, allowing the perimeter defender to get back into position. Then he could drop back to protect the paint. Yes, he is not as athlete as AD or Wemby, but he is a good, or maybe even underrated, rim protector. But when Jokic needs to step all the way up to the three-point line, there's no way he can recover his position. I know KCP's evaluation is different. Some think he's overrated and not worth the contract that the Magic gave him. Offensively, he struggled this season, and even last season his performance wasn't consistent, but he can almost pick up anyone from the backcourt, especially with his ability to navigate screens. It's among the best. This was the key for Jokic to recover under the baskets last season. Christian Braun has played really well already this season, but he's still not at that level yet, especially on defense. Besides this pick-and-roll problem, another issue is that even when Jokic is under the rim, if the attacker goes straight to the paint without any resistance, Jokic cannot do much, not only because of his athleticism, but also he needs to preserve himself on court away from foul trouble. There were lots of possessions where Denver's players, especially bench players, seems unsure of where they should be or who they should be defending. Sometimes they just lost track of the off-ball cutter. Well, it's all understandable. The bench has changed a lot. Coach Malone is still trying to figure out the rotation. So what can they do about their defensive problem? Firstly, the perimeter defenders need to work harder at navigating screens. They cannot leave Jokic alone with the ball handler. Sometimes, Jokic tries to double-team the ball handler, which helps addressing the issue but requires rotations from other players. This change in defensive strategy means they don't have that chemistry yet. Additionally, the younger players really need to stay focused on the court. A simple lapse can lead to an open look for an opponent's off-ball player. They can either shoot an uncontested three or challenge Jokic directly. The coaching staff needs to build discipline within the mixed lineups during training as well. Of course, it's easier said than done, but I believe Denver is already aware of the problem and they are working to resolve it to get the team back on top. We've already discussed how the current roster and coaching staff might improve, but what about the management team? I believe many Denver fans aren't satisfied with their work over the summer. DeAndre Jordan seems to be in better state than Dario Saric right now, and the team needs Saric to find his rhythm again. Letting Jokic play 37.7 minutes per game is risky, especially when Michael Porter Jr. is logging 36.3 minutes, considering his history of serious back injuries. The roster might need some adjustment if, after 20 games, Jokic's usage rate is still this high, no matter where they sit in the Western Conference. As for the center position, if Saric continue to struggle and Najee and Jordan fill the gap, asking Aaron Gordon to play center might put too much pressure on him throughout the season, and he's already injured right now. So if none of the current centers step up, the management team might need to find a way to bring someone in to allow Jokic to play fewer minutes during the regular season. Overall, Denver is getting better already with the recent 2 games. It is just the beginning of the season, and their offense remains top tier. They just need to figure out how to protect the paint, and more importantly, ease the load on Jokic, especially on the defensive end. As time goes by, and the bench players get used to their rotation sequences, and with the team's discipline, I'm sure they will climb back up to the top of the Western Conference soon. Thank you for joining me about the Nuggets' earlier season challenges. What do you think? Will Denver turn things around and dominate the West again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more NBA insights. Until next time, enjoy the game!